Hey, welcome back. This is Tim. This is Tim Ellis's art, history, and art lesson channel. And one of the things I wanted to talk about with you guys is why I painted some of the people that I painted. And so you may be familiar with my art history series of paintings where I painted some of the artists that I felt were iconic, not just in who they were, not just in the art that they made, but also in the way that they shaped our art world and also just human culture as artists. So one of the people I wanted to talk about today is Yayoi Kusama. And I will show you my Yayoi Kusama painting right here. Okay, so this is my painting of Yayoi Kusama, and this is about a 4 foot tall piece. And is that right? Yeah, this is 32 by 48, so this is 4 feet tall. This is a pretty early on painting that I did when I was doing this series, and this is a painting of Yayoi when she was young. She is a Japanese artist and lived in New York City for a lot of her youth, and ended up moving back to Japan in the 1970s. And the reason I chose to paint her is because she is just a pretty amazing woman. And I talk about her a little bit in my basic art history lesson. But this is her in her 80s in these photos. She's not in the center top. That's not her. It's just someone in one of her exhibits, her infinity room at the Broad Museum, where I'm going tomorrow. So I can't wait. Anyway, from a very early age, Yayoi had a visionary and auditory hallucinations, and they were so overwhelming that they started to shape who she was as a person and her art. So from a very early age, she started painting polka dots on things, and these were things that she sees in real life. And she did a lot of pretty experimental work. Let me just click through some of this. So from a pretty young age in New York City, she was doing a lot of partially nude or fully nude art where she was painting polka dots on herself or other people. And this was pretty revolutionary at the time. Not only that, but for someone with what's considered a mental illness, it's a form of schizophrenia, is one of the things she suffers from. You would think, oh, that poor woman, it's too bad that she's not going to be able to really become the artist she could be. Because what ended up happening with her is she became the richest and most successful living female artist, which is quite an incredible accomplishment. And Louis Vuitton did a big series of her designs, and she's just incredibly successful, and her work is kind of everywhere. And not only is her work amazing, but she herself is pretty iconic. So one of the things that I think is interesting, this is where she grew up in her hometown. Let me get back here for a second. So this is Matsumoto, Japan. You can hear that I say that say that a lot. She moved to New York in 1958, and let's just click through and look at a little bit of her work here, if it'll let me. Here's some of her polka dots, and she's just incredible looking. I love her whole style. If you've ever been to one of her infinity rooms or installations, when you go in, everything is painted, everything is decorated. I don't know how well you can see this bottom pink image on the left, but you're looking at kind of a view looking down on people, and there's these huge kind of octopus arms everywhere, or painted pumpkins and these other images, and a lot of times they're surrounded by mirrors. So when you go in and there's mirrors, you become part of the work, which is installation work, and is just super exciting. When I take my students to see the Infinity Room at the Broad Museum, a lot of them feel like, when we kind of debrief, they tell me that was their favorite piece of art they've ever seen. And it was not because it would be difficult, or not because of the incredible amount of training someone would have to do something like that, but just how awesome it is to go into a room like that and experience all the color and the interaction and how you see yourself. So an installation is just it's inspiring to young artists, and I think for most people who experience it. So when I chose to paint her, one of the reasons is because she is so inspirational to other artists. We think of mental illness as a disability, and yet by her embracing her mental illness, she has become prolific and made so much impactful work. In this image, the photo that I worked from, she actually had some reflective things in her hair, symbolic of her polka dots that she sees. And in a lot of my work, I choose to work from black and white photos, so I'm inventing the color. So this color, to me, really represents how I feel when I look at her or look at her work. Get back over here. I just wanted to say in closing that she sees these hallucinations that overwhelm her senses as self-obliteration, is how she phrases it, and she began to make art around that concept. The other thing that's kind of amazing is she's not just someone who's coping with schizophrenia. She, in the 1970s, actually, of her own volition, moved into a care facility to help take care of her and deal with her mental illness, and she credits that to saving her life. And she still lives in this facility in Japan. So not only did she seek help to manage the hallucinations and kind of deal with life, but she successfully did that as the most successful living female artist, which Yayoi Kusama, pretty incredible, and she is still alive today. So anyway, thanks for checking in. I'm going to make a series of a bunch of these videos so you can see who I've painted, why I've painted them, and hear a little bit of their story. All right, thanks so much. If you like this, please hit like, subscribe, and share these, and check out some of my other videos. Thanks. Bye-bye.